You, me, and we have been confused for too long about two things. One, your email. 900 million people spend 20 hours a week acting as if their job is to process their inbox. On the other hand, our priorities, the most important things. If you look closely, this is my inbox in 2010. One of the 185 folders is called Human OS, for Human Operating System. That was Handle. If it did not get my attention, I would not be here in front of you today. But priorities come in all shapes and sizes. Here are a few of my absolute favorite ones. Absolutely. Priorities are not all emails, and emails are not all priorities. So how do we do it? My name is Sean Carolyn. I'm the CEO of Handle, and I'm a managing director at Menlo Ventures. This is my co-founder and our VP of product, Jonathan McCoy. So how do we do it? The first step is capture. Yes, your inbox has priorities, but so do they come out of your mind, and they come out of meetings. You have to get them all in one place to make good decisions. The second we call triage. Triage is making decisions on every item when you see it. The third, plan. We are all given one day at a time. You have to make wise decisions with it, because it will be gone. And the last is do. Actually do the work that you think is most important until it is complete. We call this the Handle habit. And it's the reason why email clients have not been able to solve this problem alone, and task managers have not been able to solve this problem alone. So we started from scratch, and we built the whole thing. Introducing the world's first priority engine, Handle. Now let's see how it works. We start with Handle Mobile.
So when I'm away from my desk, I can keep an eye on my priorities. Here they are, right here. But also, I never know when I'm going to get a new idea. Handle makes it easy for me to capture my thoughts and get them into my trusted system quickly. I just press plus, add a thought, and send myself an idea. I can create a task or send an email. This one will end up in my inbox, so I can triage it when I get to my inbox.
The next step is email triage. Email triage is where you go to your inbox and you make decisions on everything. To do it quickly, we've created a unique element we call the handlebar. The 5 most common commands are shown, but there's 13 in all. The handlebar was inspired by Siri, where I led Menlo's first investment. Siri was not about voice. Siri was about capturing intent and delivering action. The handlebar is even faster. It uses the keyboard and can move as fast as you can think.
So this first email I'm looking at has no action, but I want it to show up when I search. So I hit the A key to archive, and it's out of the inbox. Just hit R to reply. Thanks, Mel. Command return sends the email, and then I want to add this to a task. It's a feature that I'm working on later. So there it's out of my inbox. Here's a test that will take some time. First, I pick a priority. This is a must-do. Title it Process Bugs. And I want to put it on my today list, because I need to get this done today. So press return. And here it is, queued up for me to execute as soon as I'm ready. This next one's a newsletter. I don't need it anymore, so I'm going to use Handle's unsubscribe command to get it out of my inbox. I just press U, and it's gone. This next email is from a user requesting an invite code. I've gotten several hundred of these emails over the last couple days, and I need a template to deal with it. So I'm going to use our no thanks command. In, and sorry, Nick, but if I let you into the product right now, my CTO will douse my head in molten lava, because he hasn't slept for 4 days. Yeah, that sounds about right. And send. OK? And this last one is an email that I want to read on my iPad later. A lot of great links. I'm going to use the push to reader command from Handle, and it's going to go to my Evernote and my Pocket account, so I can check it out there. So just P, and great, my inbox is at 0. Now I can focus on some real work.
The next phase is plan, but not in a crowded inbox. Handle's priority list is ordered by importance, with must-dos at the top.
I review my task list using the handlebar to triage priorities, just like emails in my inbox. There are 2 musts here, but the Wednesday meeting prep I'll do tomorrow. I use the handlebar and hit the S key to snooze it for 1 day. S, 1 day, and it's off my list. Next, I'll focus on my top priority, which is to draft a spec for a new feature. I'm going to go ahead and drag this over to my calendar at 6 p.m. and block out 1 hour of time. All right, it's all set.
Finally, Jonathan gets to work.
OK, now I'm going to focus on my key, my key deliverable for the day, which is to work on this feature spec. I click on it, and I can see in front of me that I've left myself instructions on how to get it done, comments and links related to this task, and I have the whole communication thread that's surrounding this task right here in front of me. I can jump in and be productive immediately. No context switching. In fact, here's the email from Mel that I just inserted earlier. OK? So fast forward 60 minutes, and I'm done. I simply press C to complete the task, and I finished all my important work for the day. Another day handled.
But Handle is mostly about outcomes. That's why it's disruptive. The disruption is getting all the must-do things you have to do done that day. The disruption is going home and having dinner with your family without checking your iPhone. The disruption is keeping yourself in shape. Handle is not about Handle. It's about you and doing what you feel is most important. That's the disruption.
Great.
Our users so far seem to agree. Thank you very much. We look forward to your questions.
Great job. Judges.
Well, I'll let me start. I've been, like many of us, I've had a real problem with email for a very long time, and just hate it. And so, periodically I'll go in and delete all of them. And
Oh, that's what happened.
and obviously that's going to anger some people, but on the other hand, it's this great feeling of like starting fresh, and but it's just not good, right? It's just not good from a relationship management sort of. So I have been looking for this kind of stuff, and I try everything, and I begged you to let me in, as soon as I saw this, and I've been using it. And so I have some problems and questions with it. So first of all, you have, and hopefully these are easy questions to answer. But one thing is you have a sync issue. It's just slow. I keep Gmail open next to it. Stuff ain't happening right. How are you going to fix that? Do you have the technical assets you need, or you just
We absolutely have the technical assets. We just had a lot of load. We had a lot of users that we let into the product, and we were calibrating the system to make it faster.
Did you make a decision to let more people in that you could handle because you don't want to lose the opportunity to grab them, and realizing it might have a slightly negative?
No, we have a capped invite system where we're really gauging how many people we can bring in, seeing what the limits of our system are, and then bringing more people in.
And then what about two-way sync, right? So the calendar and the tab. I mean, it feels like, and I know the answer to this. You said it's coming, but when? Because it's actually a real problem that it's not two-way syncing with calendar and all that. So.
Yeah, that one's on the short-term roadmap.
Yeah.
We've spec'd it out. We've prototyped it. It's just a matter of productizing the right product for launch that we didn't put it in right away.
How many users have you let in so far?
In the hundreds.
Just a few hundred.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. How many do you have on hold? How many are waiting?
In the thousands.
So for a productivity tool like this, it's not for someone who just uses email occasionally, presumably, right? It's for somebody who's using email quite a bit, probably for their job. For me, I'm using 2 different email accounts, my personal and work, but I'm using them all the time. I'm using Fantastical to do calendar entries. I'm using Asana and other things for task lists. And I kind of have my own clutched together system, and it's not great, but I know how to use it, and it's better than anything else I have going. So To switch over, I'm going to need to chop all of it away and replace it with something that's an all-in-one solution that doesn't quite get at some of the things that each of those things offer, right? Because Fantastical is, it has a desktop plugin where I can, just type in the date and, type in the name, and I can, it's very, very fast. So, what's your way of addressing that, right? Like, all of the power users like me each have their own systems, and they all have their own little issues. How do you really deal with all of these little edge cases?
It's a great question because we all work in a different way.
Right.
And I'd say two things. One is we're big believers in the minimum viable product, getting it into customers' hands. Our very first release, the company was funded in July of 11. The first release was November of 11. So there's just a lot of stuff that's in email clients that we all take for granted, but it's all got to be there or people basically won't touch it. So this is early at the point where it says, okay, it's working, but we've got a great team. We're adding features by the week. So I think the product will keep getting better. Secondarily, we really see, I put a blog post out on Handel's website. We want this to be an operating system for life. And something like Fantastical, if you got a great date parser, you should be able to use that. Evernote, Trello, if there's systems that you like that work, that are going to be more effective than Handle for you, we want to be able to have that command line be expandable. So, we ship with 13 commands, but, I've been talking to Rafe at Evernote, the Evernote command, right? Click, pushes it right to your right label. So we really see ourselves as that decisioning engine. The circle has to be around the person. You have to have all of your inboxes. You have to have all of the different potential demands on your time in one place to make good decisions, but then they can go anywhere.
So this is a big bear of a problem, and it seems like when solutions start to work in this area, it's because they've nailed one feature that's a really simple feature which users like. In the case of Mailbox, it was remind me later and the you're all done graphic. What would that be for you guys? Because you have 13 commands, and I couldn't see the demo. It seems like there's a lot going on. But if there's one thing that all of the first generation of users would fall in love with, what would that be?
People love the handlebar. The handlebar, people love it. There's something that's magical about everything natural language you learn as a kid. So it's very natural when you learn a basic vocabulary archive and then you hit an A and it's gone, or you think unsubscribe, you hit a U and it's gone. So people who don't get to 0, don't use tasks, still come in and really enjoy the handlebar. That said,
but it's Gmail shortcuts that they like, or is there actually a workflow associated with it?
10% of the market uses Gmail shortcuts. We want to have a compatibility mode where, hey, if you're a Gmail shortcut person, you can.
You hit D and it deletes. It just makes sense. And also, sorry, not to start selling a product, but especially when, especially when founded by a competing venture firm. But yeah, it's also do you ever find yourself cutting and pasting from Gmail into Calendar and stuff? That's the thing that kills me. And it's Google could so easily fix some of this stuff by just and they don't. And that's what this is. You're not doing that. You're hitting a button and suddenly it's on your task list and in your calendar. And yeah,
just the routing.
Yeah, but you really do need. We tried to build just triage, and that's what we released in November of 11. And people were like, "Oh, well, I make these tasks, but then I'm in the task and I want to reply to the email." So, send you back to Google, do a search? No, we had to build an integrated email client to take all the friction out. That's the thing, because people spend so much time here that an extra keystroke is almost unbearable.
Yeah.
When we have a bug every once in a while, it's this you have to hit the button and then hit return. I don't want to touch it because it's it added too much friction to something I do 100 times a day. So it was a tough thing to do, but we had to do it.
And if I could add to that, one of the major challenges with these task management applications is that you create tasks for yourself and they go stale, right? You don't want to manage them. And we've created an interface where you use the handlebar, at the speed of thought. You can triage your inbox, and then you can go to your task list and use a very similar paradigm to manage your task list. So it's familiar. You get done with your task list, you get done with your inbox, you zero it out, and then you jump on your task list, and it's just a seamless part of the daily habit that we've created.
When do you have Exchange support?
he's using it with Exchange.
I'm using it with Exchange right now. It's alpha quality. I haven't even brought the other Menlo partners onto it yet, but I think we're about I'm a month or so away. The trick is you don't want to have to talk to IT guy. at a big company, and so to get in seamlessly, you can't use the IMAP port. You have to go Exchange Web Services, and so we're writing all that natively.
Okay. And on the scale question that came up earlier, I think Mike was asking you about that ability to scale. From what I understand, Gmail took an enormous amount of engineering to support the user base that it does. And if you're successful, you're going to face that sort of a crunch. Have you started to assemble the team that you'll need, and have you started to think about the infrastructure and then tie that back to pricing, because it's expensive?
Two answers. I mean, one is it is a priority interest. We don't suck in all your email. The server still remains the authoritative source of the back archive. So it's kind of a working set of your email. Think of like your mobile phone. So from an absolute cost perspective, it is quite a bit lower.
And pricing? Are you thinking freemium?
Yeah, we definitely want basic triage, basic tasking, basic mobile to be free. This is something where if people start to use it and enjoy it, it's a very sticky product, and we feel like if it makes you more productive, then we'll be able to get our fair share of value over time.
Then they sell the company, right? I mean, they'll never charge for this. The idea is to get people addicted to it and then have some big sale, I would imagine.
We're going to have to charge for it somewhere. But I think there's just, I mean, Yammer, like, there's a lot of models out there, Evernote, Dropbox. I mean, if you're giving people genuine value, and then there's something that you think, hey, Exchange storage spillover. I've talked to bankers. I mean, we interview tons of users about what their problems are. There's bankers who make 200 grand a year who are spending hours managing their storage limits. That's not a good use of their time, right? We could very easily have like an archive spillover with unified search across the two. So the architecture is really flexible, and it's just a matter of doing customer discovery and figuring out, what do people want the most.
Any other questions? All right, that was Handle. Thank you guys very much.
Thanks very much.